Welcome to Talent Tech Today. My name is Carl Kutsmode, and I'm the SVP for the Talent Tech Advisory Consulting Practice at TalentRise. I started this video blog to help HR and talent leaders gain a more human and personal perspective on some of today's lesser known and often, frankly, more innovative talent and HR technologies in the market. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Ben Eubanks. Many of you may have seen Ben speak at one of our various industry conferences, where he frequently shares insights and perspectives on leading HR tech trends. Ben is a principal analyst at Lighthouse Research Advisory Group. He's also the host of his very own podcast, We're Only Human, a must podcast to subscribe to. Ben is author of Artificial Intelligence for HR, Make Work Human, Not Less, a great book to also put on your reading list. Also joining me today is Maury Hanigan. Maury is the founder and CEO of SparcStart, a video recruitment and employment branding platform. Over the next 30 minutes, Ben and I will interview Maury, and if we're lucky, she'll share some valuable insights to help you make an informed decision should her solution fit your needs. And if you need help with that, give me a call. On that note, Ben, I will let you begin our discussion. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it. Glad to be here. And this is going to be a fun conversation. We've gotten Maury ready to go, and we're going to have a good discussion about, again, as Carl said, what she's doing, what our company's doing, how they're solving problems. It's going to be really great to hear. So just to kick us off, Maury, let's roll the time back a little bit. Talk a little about your founder story, right? Every company's got one, and the benefit for SparcStart is you are the CEO and the founder. So can you tell us a little about what led you to start this company?
Depending on how far you want to go back, I think I started my first business at like age 3. I tried to rent out my golden books and have a lending library. All my early failures were because my mother shut me down. I have 2 parents who were both entrepreneurs, which given, in my mother's generation, that was really unusual, but she was an entrepreneur. So there's a little bit I'm bred for it. Now I've got siblings who have nothing to do with the entrepreneurial world. They were smarter and looked around and said, that's a tough way to make a living, but it's in my blood. And I'll share with you guys, I haven't made this public yet, but just a week ago, I finally got my patent for SparcStart. And my dad had a patent, and it was his proudest accomplishment. And so it's a really big deal for me to have a patent as well. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So
congrats, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's in my blood. I'm a problem solver. I'm somebody that if you give me 10 minutes, I'll either solve a Sudoku, I'll do a jigsaw puzzle. I love to solve puzzles. And really being an entrepreneur is the only place I get to do that all day long, every day. And it's varied enough. I mean, I'm a numbers cruncher. I love data. And so I get to crunch, all kinds of numbers for the platforms and look at clients and all that kind of thing. I also get to, oversee the finances and all of that. There's a lot of variety to it, but kind of moving forward, I started my career in marketing at Procter & Gamble. And that was a piece that brought together the creative side and the analytical side. And so I look at the world through a marketer's lens. I've been really, Procter gave me great training in marketing. And so there was kind of nothing else I was ever going to do other than figure out what problem I passionately, wanted to solve and felt made a difference. If I'm going to get up in the morning and work hard, I want to do work that's worth doing. I want to do work where everybody wins. And I feel really strongly that the platform we developed, everybody wins. The employer wins, the candidate wins. It's something I feel good about doing.
Awesome. Wonderful. So you one day woke up and said, okay, I'm going to take that marketing background and go and help companies hire people. That's because I'm curious how that specific, why that idea out of a million, you could have helped to match those people up in different ways. What led you to say, okay, right, your recruitment video platform, why video? Why is that part of this? It's because you saw the power in the marketing side. I'd love for you to connect those dots for us, because you could pick a lot of ways to bring those populations together.
I could have. And so there's a little bit of the dark side of my personality. I'm also really impatient. And I worked for P&G, and then I went to work for Pepsi, still in marketing. And I used to do my own campus recruiting. I'd go to campus because I wanted to pick my own staff. I wanted to make sure I had the people that I really saw potential in and really wanted to train and so forth. And so I got involved in recruiting. I was still a marketer at heart, but I did a lot of recruiting because I enjoyed it and I thought it was important. And it made me crazy that recruiting was being done with people who were using job descriptions and thinking they had a marketing tool, that, you know, candidates were going to be attracted by these 5 paragraphs of text and 19 bullet points. And then I'd go back to my day job, and we're making commercials and we're doing promotions and we're doing all the marketing stuff. And then I go back to my recruiting hat, and I've got this text-only document that's not mobile friendly, that nobody wants to read, that doesn't even say anything. And I'm like, seriously, folks? like, we discovered video, you know, like several decades ago. Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, there was an idea that video was expensive to produce and took months to do. And I pulled out my phone and went, hello, you know, you've got the technology in your pocket. This isn't bleeding edge technology. This isn't something you've really got to be very advanced so that you could actually film a video. It's like, push the button on your phone and blah, you got a video. So all those sort of things came together. I looked at the technology was there. It was proven. It was inexpensive. It was readily accessible. It was persuasive. And I also looked at, you know, when you're anywhere in the recruiting world, you have an endless number of people who show up on your doorstep asking you to help them with career advice, right? You know, all your nieces and nephews, all the neighbors' kids, you know, so you get to see it from the candidate side as well. And when you do that, you realize how awful the information is that they have available to them, how they're trying to decide, is this a job I'm going to get satisfaction out of? Is this a job that's going to challenge me? You know, who's my boss? Who's the team? Is this a place I'm going to feel where I can thrive and really succeed? And they're looking at a job description. And you go, oh dear God, this is awful from both sides.
None of that information is there, by the way.
So, you know, it all kind of, I kind of didn't have a choice. And there's also, since you've got me on my soapbox now, you make it a second question, Ben, but probably not, because you've got me wound up. But I also feel when you know, this goes back to, I want to get out of bed in the morning and feel good about what I'm doing and build a company that's really going to contribute. Work is profoundly important to people. It's not only their livelihood and their ability to keep a roof over their head and food on their family's table, but for a lot of us, it's where our intellectual challenge comes from. It's where our satisfaction comes from. And for someone who's in a job that's a good fit, it can be really tremendous, right? You get people you respect and you like, you get problems to solve, you get to feel good about your accomplishments, hopefully you get recognition. And if you're in a job that's not a good fit, life's pretty awful. You know, if you really hate to go to work every day, it affects everything from your mental health to your physical health to your families and your relationships and everything else. So when you look at what process can I make better that's going to matter, this friction between people looking for jobs and people having jobs to offer and the terrible communication that's there, that's what I want to solve. I want to help solve as much as I can. And I think I've got the tools and I understand at least enough pieces of it. I can make it better. I can't make it perfect. I wish I could, but I think I can move the needle. And to be honest, I feel the SparcStart is 7 years old now. So I've got a lot of data that says we've moved the needle for a lot of people.
That's awesome. You know, your passion just comes through in spades, and I can totally relate, being an entrepreneur myself, and you know, I love how you kind of navigated your journey to solve that problem. You know, the other side of the coin here is people make the company that you've built work. So tell us a little bit about the people and why they want to work for your company, and how they have helped you grow this successful business.
Yeah, I have been so fortunate in the team I've been able to pull together, and the talent that I've got. Thank heavens I've got the talent I've got, because it really flushes out everything we do. But I think that the people join the firm either because they've got a background in video and they love that, or you know, obviously I've got a tech team who loves tech. I think I'm pretty good at finding people who have passion. So nobody comes and punches the clock. You've got to really love what you do and really want to do this. But I think the reason that people stay and really start talking about the company as us and we is because they love seeing successes. They come and buy into this idea that when somebody produces a video that helps really explain a job well or put some real sense of what the challenges are, what the satisfactions might be, or even talks about a job that lets a candidate go, nope, that's not the job for me. That's not what I want to do, and makes a well-informed decision to opt out, that's a success. And when we have hundreds, thousands of videos, right, that keep getting uploaded to our platform and so forth. And believe it or not, we actually ultimately watch them all. In part, we check to make sure that nobody uploads anything that's inappropriate. But we give lots of feedback to clients on things that would, help a video and so forth. So customer service managers are responsible for making sure they're familiar with all the videos that clients upload. And inevitably I'll get hey, they uploaded a great video today, or, oh, this one's really good, or there's real satisfaction in seeing clients succeed, in seeing good content get out there. I mean, it's this win-win situation. And I think people like being part of that. They get excited about it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I was going to say, it's easy to be excited, right? When you're having that impact. Like you said a minute ago, it's like the thing I always turn to is a job is not just a job. And you said it, all those emotional and other things that we tie to that meaning that we tie to work, and to help your people see that impact, that's got to be just thrilling for them. I didn't mean to step over you, Carl, but I was just going to, I'm excited about that aspect of what they do.
Well, and I got to say right now, COVID has been horrific for lots of people personally, and for, I gotta believe, almost all businesses. And one of the things that's happening is with all the remote processes going on, it's really made the idea of putting a human face and a human voice in your processes really acute. So people have been, there's been a lot of remote recruiting going on. Things like campus recruiting are largely remote processes. And there've been remote workers all the time. But I think now that everybody's remote, they're understanding the value of seeing and hearing someone talk. You get to watch their facial expressions. You get to watch the pauses in what they say. You get to hear when their voices go up or down. It's not like sending a memo. You can prepare information all the time, but your understanding is so much greater when you get to hear someone and see them and watch all the energy they do or don't put into, we've got a client right now using the platform to have employees update just 2-minute summaries at the end of the week about how things are going. In 2 minutes, you can't do a one-on-one Zoom, and you can have people write memos, but why write emails? So in a real quick, they get to, hear about this project's doing this, I'm doing this kind of thing, but they get to hear someone's voice. They get to watch their facial expressions. They get so much more sense of how their employee's doing. Are they jazzed? Are things going right? Or boy, are they discouraged, and are they starting to feel disconnected, and they're just going through the motions? Video can tell you so much more than other forms of communication that people are starting to understand and appreciate, and going, oh, gee, I've got this whole recruiting process. Maybe I should think about where I drop some recorded video in here and put some humanity back in this. We're human resources.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I've seen a lot of that just within our clients, where they're using this time to, be creative, think outside the box, do things differently because they've been forced to. And so a lot of people who maybe resisted testing new things or trying video when others in the organization were championing it are starting to, be forced to do something different. I don't know if you're seeing an uptick in some of the sales that were stagnated or not, but I would imagine, you're seeing people do things.
Yeah, what we're seeing is more use cases. That let's say people are going to video interviewing, which is something we don't do. There are good platforms out there, and we're not designed to do that. But when someone comes in for an interview, they usually get to meet the team. But now even if they're doing, a synchronous video, they don't get to meet anybody else. So we're seeing people just do little short videos that are being recorded, so the interviewee, the candidate, gets to meet the team. They're doing things, I emailed you guys directly. I think I mostly just responded to you, but in my email signature, I've now put a little, let me introduce myself. And there's a little quick video. And I think it's 17 seconds long, but there's so many people I'm interacting with now that I've never met. Rather than just being an email, if they're curious about who this Maury Hanigan is they're dealing with, they click on it and they find out that I'm a data junkie. I love to analyze data. I'm a Broadway musical fan, and I make a decent pie. And they learn it in 17 seconds, and it just puts a human face to it. So if I ask someone, could you please, hunt down this invoice for me? At least a person has asked them that rather than an email coming from somebody.
Yeah.
We all think remote work's working just fine, but we've all met before. We've all worked together before. Think of the new college grad who's sitting in their apartment or at their dining room table working for your company. They've never met anybody. How connected do they feel? How engaged are they? How much do they feel like part of the team? And again, you can do the one-on-one Zooms and those are great. And there's a place for that. But do they ever meet Keisha down in accounts receivable? And hopefully at some point you get to put that human touch back on it.
I love that. Well, that human touch kind of brings up the question I want to ask you next, actually, because I think that's probably going to be part of your answer. If I had to guess, if I could see the future for a second forecast, how are you solving problems for your customers? Right, we talked around it a little bit. I'd love for you to really lay out exactly what you're doing, the kind of problems that you're solving. You're talking about creating more humanity there, but I want people to understand really well, really granularly, what you're doing, how it works, and how that is actually beneficial. You said you got some data on that, and if you have any data to share as well, that'd be fun to hear. I'm the data nut, as you know, just like you. But so share with us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Don't get me started on the data. We'll be a Ken Burns 13-hour thing going here. But we have two primary products. The first one is Spark, which adds hiring manager and 2 coworker videos to a job description and creates a landing page that tells candidates more about the job. So that's really important because people aren't reading, they don't want to read this job description, but they will stop and listen to a hiring manager. That product is 7 years old. I'm happy to say we won the HR Tech Product of the Year for it when we introduced it. And we have a lot of data around that. You can also pull those videos onto your job posting page so that someone goes to your career site, they can actually meet their boss. And that's hugely powerful for people to be able, when they're just looking at jobs, and these are just 20-second clips, they're recorded on a phone, a tablet, a webcam, whatever, they're approved, there's an approval process baked in. But it just puts some humanity back to it. It puts a voice to it. It's a hiring manager who talks about what challenges you might have, what expertise you might develop, what kinds of projects you might work on. So it's just a little, we called it Spark for a reason. We spark interest in the job. And when you do that, your conversion of people who visit your career page to people who apply goes up by 60%. That's a huge increase. And I think what's more important than that is we've had clients who have done some really good A/B tests on the quality of the applicants and found that the applicants, and even though you get 60% more, the applicants always stay at least as good, but generally get better. And some of that is candidates self-select out because they listen. My favorite is, I won't name the client, but one of the really big tech companies, like the really big tech companies, found that they, for some of their tech jobs, they were actually getting fewer candidates, but more qualified. And some of it, they believed, you never know why someone doesn't apply. But somebody who went out and took the weekend coding class in Python and thought they were going to be the next $200,000, developer at big tech company, they listened to the hiring manager talk about the kinds of things they were developing, and they realized this weekend coding class, they were not qualified for this. They were never going to make it through the interview. So they didn't get in and clog up the whole recruiting process, right? So the recruiters got to focus on people who understood the job and believed they had a reasonable shot at getting it. So it's been really effective that way. So that's been our Spark product. But the other product we introduced last summer is called Amplify, and it's a video capture management sharing platform. And the big thing about it is we've taken the friction out of video. We've made it very easy to request an employee-generated video from an employee. We've built an approval process. An employee can record a video without having to download an app. There's nothing else in the industry that does that. Everybody else, you have to stop and download an app and use a special single-use app to record your video. We have the candidate, or the employee in this case, just get an email, and right in the email there's a button that says launch recorder. The camera opens on their phone, laptop, webcam. They record it. It goes up behind a firewall till somebody approves it, and then it's available for sharing. And that's what we're seeing with COVID right now. We're seeing Sparks a lot because people want to get their hiring managers seen and get more humanity into it. But with Amplify, we've got people, oh my heavens, the use cases are everything from client I can name, Covance just put together a Pride video, which we're really excited about. They did a really nice job. They asked a bunch of employees for Pride Month to make a quick clip, and they put them all together. We've got employees using it or we've got clients using it for onboarding. So someone can just talk through and introduce themselves. We've got people doing hiring manager offer letter videos that just say, hey, Ben, we love your analytical skills. We think you're going to be a great addition to the team. We're looking forward to you accepting. Just puts a human face on it and reinforces why you're getting the offer. We saw something special in you. These are little quick 10-second videos that just drop in an offer letter. We're seeing video go into nurturing campaigns for CRMs. One of the real challenges with nurturing campaigns is what is the content? And our system, because you can tag videos by content, the CRMs can pull it. We're putting video into virtual hiring events. The list just goes on and on and on. Places where you can take a quick recorded video and drop it into part of your process interview prep, all sorts of things. And so you get a human voice and a human person back on whatever information you're communicating. And we've made it seamless. The thing that we've done for folks is take the friction out. We've made it easy for people to record. We've got a very simple approval process, so everything is approved and marked appropriately, and then very easy to share. We're kind of the kings and queens of the one-click process.
As you're talking about that, sorry, Carl, I was just saying, the thing that occurred to me is what's really fun. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as a founder, as a CEO, when you put something out there, right, you put put Amplify out there for people to be able to use this however they needed to, in whatever ways they wanted to. And you probably had some ideas in your head and were like, okay, they'll probably do this and this and this. But hearing some of those examples just now, I'm like, that is incredible. I never would have thought of that. Right? Of all the recruiting parts of the process, the things we never touch on are the offer, right? Those things that are resigned to that being static forever, and looking for ways to add something dynamic to that, add something human and personable to that. I think that's really, really an incredible sort of outcome there when you're thinking at the beginning, like, okay, they'll use it probably for X, Y, and Z, and they come out with this whole range of things once they start realizing, well, this is so easy. It doesn't have to be hard to put video in these other areas and really create some engagement where there was none before.
We've got one client who has a really long reference checking and certification process. So they make an offer, they accept, and then everything goes dark for a long time. They're popping out little videos to that person just to keep them engaged. Yeah, it is really fun to hear it come back, or as the videos get loaded up on the platform. And I'll admit, I see less of them personally than I should. But every once in a while, somebody will say to me, hey, Maury, you got to look at this one. And it's like, wow, that's so smart. So glad they did that.
Well, that's kind of where I was going to go. I'm thinking of just the executive search process and how long that process can take, and having additional touch points from different people on the team. We had a situation where the candidate was uncomfortable making a move in the middle of COVID, but the hiring manager was still willing to move forward. And so what we encouraged them to do is to continue to have Skype video, or Zoom video calls with different team members to keep the candidate engaged. They didn't say no, and the hiring manager was still approved to make the hire when the candidate was ready and when, all of this kind of settles down a little bit. So we envisioned that, that interaction with a human touch and video was a great way to go. And I could see where if someone's not available, being able to use your tool to send messages, introduce them to things, share information could be really powerful to keep that process going when it does elongate. And the last point before, because we're watching time here, the last point I wanted to get to is, kind of the service side of your business. Customer service is really important to buyers when they're looking at tools. And what's your secret sauce? What's your philosophy around that and your magic behind keeping clients happy?
The first thing is we respond really quickly. No one ever sends an email or reaches out and they don't get a response immediately, even if we can't solve something immediately. But there's a little bit, I think our clients have self-selected. They're people who, want to be innovative, that are creative, that are thinking about things. So we're really lucky. We've kind of got the best out there of the clients. The naysayers, that'll never work. They never buy our product. It's kind of the visionaries and the people like, hey, this would be cool. Can we do this? Can we do this kind of stuff? So we really like our clients and we want to talk to them because they do come to us with good ideas sometimes and different thoughts. So I think, this is going to sound cliched that we think of it as a real partnership. But even though our product is a platform and we don't sell any consulting services, we do talk to clients all the time because we want them to be successful. We've put together guides just on filming video, on ways to calm down people's nerves, on things like, getting good audio, lots of those sorts of things that we just add into the process because we want them to succeed. We want them to feel really good about the video. We've produced a couple of things even for like their legal departments. One of my pet peeves is someone goes, oh, well, every single video has got to be approved by marketing, and then it's got to be approved by compliance, and then it's got to be approved by legal, and then it's got to be approved by brand. And then video is just another communications medium. All those departments don't sign off on all of your emails. Video is just another way to communicate. And there's no reason for legal to have to sign off on every video you do. There's no reason for, all these different functions. It's like you've got companies that are absolutely hamstrung in trying to communicate and bring this humanity and engage people. And their corporations have set up this 3-month approval process that makes things outdated before they ever get them started. So again, we tend to have clients who we've got one of our clients right now, Northrop Grumman. They are as security conscious as anybody you're going to meet, and with good reason. They've got all our missile defense systems. I hope they're heebie-jeebie about security, but there's leadership there that says, okay, we need to make this work. We need to be respectful of the organization's need for security and so of that, but we also need to be responsive and have information that's timely and out there. So, the really good people tend to gravitate to us and they're fun to work with. So it's the nature of the beast. We get the best of them. Well,
that's it's a great place to kind of wrap things up here. I think we've come full circle from your vision and your passion and how you've articulated it through the products that you offer to your clients and the unique differentiator that you have in the market. And then at the end of the day, it's all about servicing the clients that do purchase the system. So we wish you much success, and we hope you've enjoyed your time with us today. And Ben, thank you for co-hosting today, and we look forward to continuing our conversations in the future.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you.